Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming out this morning. It's no secret that this is an important election for Torontonians, and as I meet voters across the city each day, it is clear that they're engaged and they're paying attention. This weekend, for example, in Etobicoke, I met hundreds of people who wanted their candidates to be straight up as to where they stand on issues that matter to them. Since the first day of the campaign, I have been abundantly clear on what my priority as mayor will be. My number one priority will be building the Yonge Street Relief Fund. My opponents refuse to take such a firm stand. I will build transit infrastructure for Toronto. I'm making clear to voters where I stand on this important issue, but the same can't be said for others running for mayor. Today I'd like to talk about the NDP candidate, Olivia Chow, and her failure to be straight and honest with the people of Toronto. With each passing day, the NDP candidate for mayor's position on the Yonge Street Relief Line has changed. First, she said it would be built eventually. Then, she said it should not be an election issue. Then, she decided we should take the advice of experts who said the Yonge Street Relief Line should be, indeed, a priority. But even then, she's only willing to make it a long-term priority, while her medium-term priority is to challenge what she calls fables about subways, subways, subways. The bottom line is that she will not get anything done, get results for people, until 2031. For me, the building of Toronto's transit is a priority. Not a long-term one, not a medium-term one, or one that may consume my attention eventually. It matters now. Our system needs fixing now, period. And I will not change my mind on this issue. On day one, I will be the mayor that will work with City Council and with the other governments to get transit built. On day one, Ms. Chow will be busy arguing with City Council and with the other governments about scrapping the Scarborough subway. She will ignore all the work and all the conversations and the dedicated funding that has already been committed by all three levels of government. And while she argues with these levels of government, she will reallocate the levy for the subway for other pet projects. That debate, the Scarborough subway debate, is done, finally. Reopening it is not functional or smart, it's nonsense. In politics, it's easy to make policy depending on the latest poll. And clearly, Ms. Chow is comfortable making policy depending on which way the wind is blowing on any given day. I am not. This is not how you run a livable, affordable, functional city. In the coming weeks, I will outline transit initiatives explaining how this will help make Toronto a more livable city. And I look forward to discussing this plan with voters in Liberty Village, in Etobicoke, in Scarborough, in North York, those who live on our waterfront, and in every single corner of our great city. What it will not be is multiple different positions on the same issue like the NDP candidate Ms. Chow has shown over the past few weeks. To me, trust matters. And voters should be able to trust those who are running to be mayor of this city. And whether it's the first or the last day of a campaign, voters should be able to know where a candidate stands on issues, particularly transit. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to take questions.
Can you tell us how are you going to pay for this? Will that be coming in the coming weeks? This the plan to pay for the Yonge Street Relief Line?
Yes, I've always said that I understand the obligation not only to set out what you're going to do, to be consistent on that, to get results as soon as possible, and to explain how you're going to pay for it. I think it's prudent in light of the Premier's speech today and in light of a budget that's forthcoming to see what the facts are before you finalize your plan, but I will put it forward in the coming weeks after those two things in particular are in front of us.
City staff say that really we won't see a downtown relief line until the year 2030. What can you actually do to speed it up?
Well, the first thing I will do, and Ms. Chow has wedded herself to exactly that position, that we can't do anything before 2031. She's wedded herself to that staff position. And I'm saying we have to do something before 2031, and I would start by not reopening the Scarborough subway debate. That will take the time of council and the other governments debating on something they've decided on a long time ago with funding attached. And then I think where there's a will, there's a way. And I am saying that we cannot experience 17 more years of what we're going through today. We've got to get on with doing this before 2031, well before 2031, and that means starting the minute you get to the mayor's office.
So you're saying you'll build Scarborough subway and Yonge Street Relief Line simultaneously?
I have said that from the beginning. We have this habit in this city of kind of, building one project at a time and standing around admiring them. It is too urgent now. We can't wait 17 years. Ms. Chow is satisfied with and wedded to a position that says nothing before 2031. I'm not satisfied with that. I say we have to get on with both projects. The Scarborough subway is done, don't reopen it, and get on with the Yonge Street Relief Line.
And when will you be announcing how to pay for the Yonge Street Relief Line?
Well, I've said that we'll see what Ms. Wynne has to say today, Premier Wynne, at lunchtime, and we obviously have a provincial budget to come that may have more to say about that. And once all those facts are on the table, I can finalize my own plans, because I think it's prudent to see what they have to say, given that they are crucial partners in this, and we'll come forward shortly after that.
So is your plan just going to deal with Toronto's contribution then, or will you be looking at what other governments should do?
Well, obviously, my responsibility as mayor would be to define how we would come up with Toronto's contribution, but I think it's unwise to finalize your plans in that regard until you see what the province is doing by way of the kinds of events we're going to see with the speech today and the budget. But I will deal with Toronto's contribution, and the province will deal with theirs. And of course, they're crucial partners in these projects, as we would hope would be the federal government.
But so are you saying, though, that you would expect funding from the other levels of government to pay for the downtown relief line?
I don't think there are too many transit projects we've built of that scale in this city that didn't rely on some support from the other levels of government. I think it would be an abdication of responsibility for them not to assist us in what is identified by their experts and ours and by people who travel each day as the #1 project, which is the Yonge Street Relief Line. And that's why I'm getting on with it well before 2031 in terms of getting people to actually see results.
Would you support using the City of Toronto Act to create a new tax or some other way of paying for it beyond relying on other levels of government?
I have said that I will spell out my plans as to how to pay for the city's contribution to a Yonge Street Relief Line after the budget and after Premier Wynne's speech today, and I intend to do just that.
Last question.
I guess I'm having a hard time seeing how do you speed up construction of a project if it takes 12 years to build. Doesn't it just take 12 years to build?
You know, it strikes me as odd that there are other cities around the world, and even in this city in the past, if you go and look at the time it's taken to do some of the projects, that seem to be able to do things faster. And so I think that where there's a will, there's a way. You find ways to make it happen faster because you have to. People have been waiting too long already. They're struggling every day now, let alone 17 years from now. And so I'm saying we'll find a way to do it, and I'm saying there is a way, and it starts with not getting yourself bogged down in a reopening of the old debate on the Scarborough subway, because that will waste time. I think it'll waste months, if not a couple of years. You could have a government pull out and say, well, we're just fed up with this, and pull out, and then where are you? So I say where there's a will, there's a way. I've got the will, and I'm going to find the way to get that Yonge Street Relief Line done and get results for people way before Ms. Chow's date, which is 2031 at the earliest. Thank you very much.
So do you support the Scarborough subway on merit, or do you support it because opening the debate again would slow down other projects?
Both. I mean, I think it's unwise to reopen the debate. I think that is a big mistake when you've got all the governments and the councillors and the MPPs, provincial MPPs, to agree on something. And I think we will make that subway work to get people to and from where they're going efficiently and quickly, and make it a magnet for jobs and investment in Scarborough, which I think is important too. Thank you.